Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Oh, you switched it up on us. Hey guys, it's Nicole Brajer. You are tuning in to AFTERBUZZ TV Mob Wives. We are on episode 11, season 5, and tonight's episode was baptisms and betrayals. And make sure you hashtag ABTV Mob Wives to join on the conversation. It's our new hashtag. And again, subscribe to AFTERBUZZ TV if you don't have the app and you're following on YouTube. You can also listen to us on SoundCloud. And I'm joined by my lovely new co-host who's going to be with us for the rest of the season.
Hi everybody, I'm Paulina Aquilar.
And we're excited to have Paulina tonight since we're missing Erica and Gabby. And we're going to have a guy on the panel next week. So we're going to have a different perspective. And I'm glad because it's a lot of, females here. We need a different hormone to jazz it up a little bit. And so I'm excited for next week. And but we're here to talk about this week's episode. And we'll just kind of dive right into it, starting with Drita and Nat G meeting with Big Ange, who walked in super fly in that white long coat. I mean, how do you think she looked?
Anybody else who can pull it off. I agree with Drita. I know.
She looked great. And, she's letting us know, Big Ange, that it was torture for her to go to last episode's party, Nat D's party, because, I agree, it's so much back and forth. That is her friend, and it's like, enough already. I've heard so much about it, and I'm over it, and I get why Drita didn't go to the party.
The thing that bugs me the most about Nat D is that she made it such a big deal at her own party, and it was the Christmas party, right? The charity. So if I'm hosting a charity party, I'm going to make sure I am being a host to my guests.
Exactly.
I'm not going to blow up as angry as she did to be mad at a girl who didn't show up. Mind you, Drita's got kids. Drita has a family. Yeah. Maybe she couldn't go for, other reasons. So the fact that she made it in such a big deal bugged me.
Right. Well, that's how she is, though. Yeah. And we see that, throughout this entire season. But, getting back to the initial conversation they're having, Ange just says Nat D is just out to stir the pot with Nat G. They don't believe her. And, Natalie's just sitting there kind of quiet, I thought. She didn't really have much to say, Nat G, except, when we heard back from her, in front of the green screen, she was letting us know, she is glad that Drita isn't letting Nat D get in the middle of their relationship. So how do you feel about Nat G just not really having too much to say? Do you think it puts her in some kind of guilty frame? Or?
No, I think that because she wasn't at the party, she doesn't really have much to say about it, though. Right. I mean, how can you talk about something that you weren't at?
Exactly.
I think that she's just kind of waiting for Drita to kind of make up her mind about what direction and what she wants to believe.
Right.
So I don't think it was a big deal that she wasn't saying much.
And then we hear Ange say that it seems like Nat D is making it seem like she has a problem with Drita. And that, of course, makes Drita livid.
Furious.
Because you have a problem with me for what? And I don't know. I didn't really get that vibe from Nat D. I just thought she had a problem with her not being there. Not that she had a problem. And the way these women use their words, they all are equally holding and stirring the pot together when they do that. They need to really watch the way they're going to phrase things because it causes so much.
So many directions, especially who you're talking about can perceive it in a whole different light.
Exactly. And that pretty much wraps up their little lunch meeting. I mean, not too much going on there except Nat G, Nat D, blah, blah, blah. And then we get to how, Drita says a line that really caught me. She said that Nat G proved her innocence to her. So unless there's proof, there's nothing more that she needs.
She wants to be done with everything.
Exactly. And we'll get to the proof that we do get at the end of this episode. It's pretty juicy. And we've got a little insider for you guys because Paulina here did her research.
It's juicy.
Yeah. So then we see Renee and Karen meet at Nat D's house, right? In Philly. We'll go to that's the next part. And they're just talking about the party, same ordeal.
Natalie G, big surprise there.
And then we see something that looked a little planned to me. With Ronnie coming in and screaming at her, we see how abusive this relationship she has really is. Now, if that was not planned, he is a psycho, and I agree with her mother. Like, do not date this guy. Like, the only reason why this guy's telling Nat D how much he loves her and can't live without her is that's called manipulation.
Right.
And with a woman like that who is very vulnerable to the dramatic lifestyle, she obviously is going to go for a guy like that.
Right. And this, I didn't like Nat D in this situation. I'm all for, hey, you're not supposed to be in my house, get out. I'm all for that. And then you see her hit him. Well, you see her push him out through the way in the doorway. But if you listen, Ronnie says, you blank lied to me. You lied to me all blank week. Yeah. So that makes me think, well, she's capable of lying. She preaches to tell the truth all the time. So what else could she be lying about? I mean,
I think he said you lied to me because you said you weren't going to be here, and
right, which is why he showed up at the house.
Right, and maybe she did pull out that lie because he didn't want her coming in on her entertaining lunch with these ladies that she's working so hard.
She seemed very surprised to be here. She got up and she didn't waste any time.
No, so I don't know. That seemed a little planned out to me. But then again, she has made it clear to the audience that this is an abusive relationship, and he's been around for a while, knew the family doesn't like him. So for him to just show up, being that he is a psycho boyfriend, I don't find that far off. But with the hearing his voiceover and stuff like that, I'm like, this could have been planned. I'm not really sure what to believe. What do you think?
Just by her reaction, I don't think it's planned. I think that he generally came to the house because she said she wasn't going to be there, and the way that she got up and snapped, and she didn't like that he showed up anyway.
Right, and it was something she also didn't like was, again, Drita not showing up, and she does say that she's annoyed that she didn't show up, but it hit her in the jugular. Now, she also says that she thinks Nat G manipulates Drita, and that Drita will be put beside herself to see who Nat G really is. Now, she's tried multiple times to get her to realize that, and I understand her frustration, but I think she takes it to a whole nother level.
I do. I think she makes it her life goal to destroy this girl's life. I mean, do you have a job? Do you have other hobbies?
Right.
Do you help your family? Do something else? I think that it's, she claims throughout the season there's unfinished business, even though they haven't met. What is it? Is it just the whole incident with the PO that bugs her?
Right.
Because there's on websites, if you kind of look back on it, she's claimed I went on the show to prove his innocence. So I don't know. She's literally making it her life to destroy hers.
Yeah. Well, she says that she also claims that Nat G did destroy her life once, so it's almost like she's trying to get back at her. Correct me if I'm wrong, fans, which I'm sure you will, you crazy cats. But I feel like she's going back for something in the past, right? There has to be something.
It's unfinished business. Exactly. That's what she claims. So I want to know what it is. It can't be just the PO incident. I think there's more.
She calls Drita a flip-flop, too. I'm sure when Drita looked back at this episode, she was like, that bitch. But, and then she's saying that she feels Drita will feel stupid because she's not following these red signals, and she has a red cloud nose on from that. I mean, what do you think?
I don't think Drita's flip-flopping. I think she's going and taking someone's word over here and being like, okay, I'm going to ask on this side and see what she gives me, and then I'm going to go back.
Yeah, I think she's smart.
Right. She's not necessarily picking, well, I'm going to pick Nat D. I mean, it's true, she is a hole in the wall that came out of nowhere, who they've known for 10 minutes.
Good out of nowhere, though. She adds a lot of juice to this whole Nat G thing.
But then she's also been friends with Nat G, and she's hearing all these back and forth. I think that she's not a flip-flopper.
She said Nat G really did hurt people she cared for and turns on you, which goes back to what we were talking about, how they're the unfinished business.
I think she's trying to get all the info she can get before she makes a decision.
Which is smart. That's what lawyers do, right? That's what smart people do. You got to weigh the good and the bad and then make your decision.
Facts.
Yeah, and then what Renee says, though, she says let it go.
Yeah.
She said let it go.
I loved her for. We see her taking a new step and trying to be rational and being healthier and happier and I like that.
And she looks it too. I think Renee looks real good with like less makeup on, kind of like grunged down. You can see that she really is trying to get, especially with this whole baptism thing, which we'll get to, that she's trying to get a different perspective out of being sober and going through everything that she's gone through, and that's noble. And she also tells us on the green screen that Drita might not be able to fight Nat D. Because she sees with Ronnie coming in how much of a fighter this girl really is.
I am Team Drita. I think she can hold her own. I think she can take her. If I had to pick side.
I think so too. I mean, I definitely think Nat D has the built for a fighter, and we've seen her in the ring. But we also have seen Drita, and that would be a crazy fight. I don't even know. I don't know if the fans would want that fight to go down. What do you think?
How about we ask the fans? Tell us, what fight would you want to see and who would win? Because I'm on Drita on this one.
When it would be between Nat D and Drita if it ever got there. But as we see at the end of this episode, that's not happening anytime soon. However, we all know that Drita likes to kind of like chime in the middle of the fights too. She just easily gets so riled up. But so again, I thought Renee telling Nat D to let it go was awesome. But then we see Karen meets with Renee, and like I said, I thought she looked really pretty. Her hair was down. She was in a sweatshirt kind of thing, and she's telling us that she feels better, and she definitely looks better because I believe that she, with the baptism, is like really trying to take this sober thing to the next level. And when you add God into the mix, when you've gone through those trials and errors, that shows that you're really trying. We did just speak to Renee on the phone, and she was telling us a little bit about how it's gotten to a point where this whole season has kind of gotten her back to that danger zone.
Right.
So do you think... Well, I mean, like, how do you feel about that? Her, like, at least committing now, even though this was shot a little while ago, but present day, she kind of has backtracked. I mean...
I think she may need to take a break from filming the show. She said it before that her son, AJ, has asked her, Mom, I wish you didn't do the show anymore. She said it online with us. And I think her taking a step back and not being so involved in the drama and kind of watching and being like, hey, let it go to Nat D. Things like that, it matters and it shows. And I think she would be a much healthier and happier person if she's not involved. And if that's what it takes to get at that level, then so be it. You had a great 5 seasons.
She's had a good run.
Right, exactly.
And she let us know she might be taking a break, and I respect that because that shows that she's matured over levels above and beyond, and with an addict and stuff like that. That's commendable. That's a gold star for Renee.
I think everybody can respect her for that.
Yeah. So then she discusses the baptism, and I don't know if some of the fans were like, what are you doing that for? If you're in touch with God and you know sobriety and how difficult the road is, you know that that's the best choice she could have ever made. And, I thought inviting, the closest girls there was the right thing to do.
To each his own. If that's going to help her, so be it. There's nothing wrong with it.
Right. And, of course, Karen being the God sister, that we saw that coming. And Karen was happy with open arms to do that for her. So then we see Nat D and her mom talk about her abusive relationship, and they're shopping for fur coats, drinking red wine. I'm like, what if they spill the red wine on the coats?
That is, you're from Jersey, so do you go shop with your girls for fur?
No, we don't do that. We don't shop for furs, but my mom's got a fur fox coat. Like back in, I think that's very old school. I don't know if our generation, besides the Kardashians, go get fur coats.
They're probably the exception on the West Coast and this generation.
Exactly, because no one needs a freaking fur coat here. No. But over there, I could see it, I guess. But yeah, I think that's a very old school. So I don't know if the producers whispered in their ear like, we want you shopping for fur coats, the mob theme. But it was funny. And then her mom was kind of right. You don't want to look too bushy in one of those big coats when you're already a big girl. With big tatas, they all extend the. Extend out than in. So they're having wine amongst the furs, and her mom tells her that this guy's bad for her. And like I said before, he says, I can't live without her, referring to Nat D and Ronnie, and he tortures her with how much he loves her. Like I said, don't you believe that's manipulation of a controlling man? Yeah,
and they've been together off and on for, I think, 4 years, somewhere around there. So it's a long time. But I'm going to have to go with her mom on this. And Nat D knows it. She she plainly says, I don't see it because I'm in love. I am blind, but I know something's there. That's why I need my mom's perspective. And it's true. Like she says he goes bad one week, it's good another week, and you can't have that.
No, there
needs to be some kind of consistency.
Her without that man, she'd probably be a more controllable girl too. You know, I feel like she would be much better without him. And you know, she says something like she's lying to her mom because she's in love with him. So she didn't completely give her 100%, even though her mother was saying, like, I didn't tell my mom these things. And, like, she's happy she is, but at the same time, she might want to leave her mom out of the picture because, like, her mom is not going to ever side with her on this.
Right.
So, you know, I feel like we're going to see a little bit more of that relationship, too, because we're not really seeing many couples besides, like, Nat G and
Drida's husband.
Well, yeah, we never even see Drida's husband, but I mean, at least with this, we kind of get to see like how abusive the relationship is. So, you know, I hope that all is well for her in that spectrum. But it seems like she's focused on two things: that relationship,
and Nat G.
two horrible relationships with a man and a woman. It's like, girl, get it together and just like clean the slate. But, so then we go to Big Ange, I believe, is the next scene. Big Ange, Karen, and Drita, and they all go over to Karen's house, and Karen tells them of Renee's baptism, and of course she drops
the party again.
Yeah, and Drita's like, well, here we go. And Drita just says it's BS that Nat D is telling everybody about this problem she had about
Except
Drita.
For me.
Well, yeah.
Right. And so then she says, I'm going to call her, we're going to meet up and squash it.
Mm-hmm. And I think that she's right. Drita's right. I would hate that if someone, like, how old are you? Pick up the phone and say, well, why didn't you come to my party?
You would think the drama would stop in high school, but I think it just gets worse.
Well, especially when these women have been in it since day one, it seems. You know, it seems like they've never left drama, no matter what age. And that's why they're just so used to it. You know, being that a lot of them are affiliated with the mob, they're born into this lifestyle, and it's just almost natural for them to
have that chaos.
Yeah. And that's why I really commend Renee this episode, because she's really actually trying to get out of it and live like a normal life for once.
And help her son get out of it.
How old is she now? You know, it's like there's got to be a time in this lifestyle before you die that you want to like see what a normal life feels like, especially with your family. So then, Trina says something hysterical. She says, you can't have water on the head and blood on the floor. And that's true. And I think it was the right decision for Drita to go meet up with Nat D and not go to the baptism, if that's what she didn't have time that week, and it was one or the other.
And what I like about Drita is that she walks the walk. Like, she says, if you're going to say something, say it to my face. And so Drita got sick of it, of hearing it from either side. And she just said, I'm going to call up Nat D and we're going to hash it out.
Yep.
And that's exactly what she did.
Exactly. That's a good point. That's why a lot of the fans love Drita. So quickly, Nat G meets with her friend Amy about advice on the wives, and explains Nat D. And Amy says, a real friend wouldn't allow Nat D to talk on Nat G, and Big Ange is being a real friend. She's defending Nat G. As far as Drita goes, she's just trying to get to the bottom of this, because she just doesn't have any time for this BS anymore. It seems like a couple of them actually do have time to just... It's like Big Ange said at the beginning of the episode, does this woman, Nat D, know I have kids? Like, I have grandkids? Like, I have a life? Like, what's your deal? And she's kind of showed us that she's, again, juggling two relationships, like one with this girl that she used to know, another with a guy that she needs to let go. And the wives have a point when it comes to Nat D, for sure.
And at the end of that conversation, Nat G says, I'm done fighting. I'm done trying to convince these people to like me, that I did this and that I did that. So we'll see. I don't think she is done.
No, because I think her friend says sometimes silence bothers people, and she was like, I didn't even hear that comment. I don't think that girl could ever be silent. She's got a mouth. I mean, both the Natalies do. But, yeah, I don't think it's going to end very well. And we see in the next episode it might not be that way. So then we get to Karen discussing with her cousin about her dad getting out of jail, the whole non-violent thing, which is never going to happen. And her cousin makes clear, because her father has a reputation. Whenever the Gravano name comes out, they're going to take a step back. I mean, how do you feel about her passion for wanting her dad to get out at least?
I think I have to commend her on it. I mean, it's your dad. I don't think she sees him as Sammy the Bull. She sees him him as her dad.
Yeah.
And of course, I think any kid would want their dad out of jail and would do anything in their power to get them out. And I like that she called her cousin Rena, right?
Rita.
Yeah, Rita. Who was kind of the voice of reason. I think that she might be a little bit naive as far as like, okay, this law applies to, this case only. But Rena came in and was like, well, they may not be looking at it in that way.
Exactly.
Look at it as a whole, as him, from his past. And kind of was more realistic about it.
Which was good. It's good for her to kind of always have that wake-up call about what's really going on in her life. And she does have responsibilities. She's got kids. She just moved. She's trying to restart her life. The last thing you do is want to trail back because you're just not going to get to where you want, where you're thinking you want to go when you keep going backwards.
And I think it clicked in Karen's mind when her cousin was like, you are the head of your household.
Right.
Think about it before you do anything.
Exactly.
Which was smart.
And then we see the letter with her and Storm, and she gets choked up, and she just pretty much says and gives us, like, all right, Karen, she's never going to give up getting her dad out early a little. So we'll see how that all plays out, hopefully, as this season comes to an end. And then we see Drita and Ange meet. Drita says, I'm just going to meet with Nat D. They're eating cold cuts. I'm like, these are my girls. I love them for that. And we'll just grab, since we're running out of time, we're going to jump to the end and to the spiritual cleanse. And I kind of, did you love how they shot that, how you see
the back and forth of the two scenes?
I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
Good job.
Whoever
made the tension build up for sure going into next week. And Drita says she needs a Natalie cleanse, and I thought that was pretty funny. So she gets it. She gets her proof from Nat D, and we see this recording that we don't hear, and all of us sitting at home are like, what is going on? What's being said?
We're all pissed. I watched it last night, and I was pissed I could not hear it.
Yeah, I'm sure the fans are too, because why would they do that to us? And, Ange says something about Renee. If anybody needs this cleanse, it's her. And then really what we want to talk about, I guess, is Nat D and Drita. And Drita explains to Nat D that Nat G had to protect herself, and we see the flashback of that conversation, and Nat D is just like, she's a liar. Here's the proof. Now, tell them, Paulina, what you looked up.
So if you want to hear the recording, go to mobwivessitdown.com. It's all there. So basically, the recording, the guy's voice is altered. It is the ex-boyfriend of Nat G. And they're sitting in a car, and you can tell that they're in a car because you can hear the window roll up. And all he says is, you called my P.O. And then she doesn't deny, she doesn't admit it.
Nope.
But all he does is repeat it, and he says, I'm going to be locked up for 90 days of all the summer because of what you did.
Right.
Again. Right.
Basically showing that she ratted out someone in her life, someone in her past.
And what she does, what kind of makes me... I've been a Nat G fan. I just want to say that, and I'll tell you why later. Yeah, I am.
Very few of you.
I am. I know. But
in here, there's so many of you out there.
Right. But in the recording, she says, "Look what you did to me. Look what you did," and she repeats it over and over. So if she was abused, if she was hit,
and that makes sense.
She could be saying, "Look what you did," showing bruises.
Right.
Look what you did. Look what you did. And on the show, she says, "I called the cops." Well, if you call the cops, his PO is going to know anyway.
Right.
So no matter how you say it. And then what got to me was he says, "And now you're going to lie about it. You swore on your son, and now you're going to lie about it." And she says, "Well, I'm going to lie about it. I'm going to have to lie about it."
Right.
And then at the end, she says, they make a reference to a she. I don't know who that is.
And we'll probably find out.
Yeah, we'll probably find out.
And forgive us if this recording is going to be different in next week's episode, if they happen to leak the sound, or if us fans are supposed to just find it on our own. But this is what we've found in our research, and what the conclusion we came to. And
the end of it is Nat G says, "She told me not to tell you." So I don't know who that she is, and he makes a reference to she as well, and then that's the end of it.
Okay, so we'll get into predictions now. With that being said,
and now your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
You want to go first?
I think she really got abused.
Oh, I 100% agree.
I don't know if I would call her a rat, because I'm all for protecting yourself. And if you call the cops and you have a PO, the PO is going to find out anyway. they're going to meet. Obviously, we see a little bit of reprieve in the preview that they're going to meet. They're going to throw down.
Yeah, I mean, you think there's going to be some bloodshed?
Yeah, I do.
I don't. I think this episode's going to lead us to believe there's going to be some kind of like smackdown, but I don't think we're going to see it next episode. I really don't. I think they're going to drag us out and get us to want to watch the following one. This she that we hear in the recording that you guys got to go and fend for yourselves to hear. Maybe that's going to be someone that we know
that comes in.
Or comes in. Like I don't think it's Nat D. But I think it's.
I don't think so either.
It might be somebody that like will show face eventually. So that's my prediction. That was a pretty good rundown between me and Paulina. So Paulina, tell everyone where they can find you.
You can go ahead and tweet me at _Paulina Aguilar. And if you need the site again for the recording, just so you can hear for yourselves, it's mobwivessitdown.com.
Thank you, Paulina. And I'm Nicole Brajer. You guys can tweet and Instagram me at Nicole Brajer. You can follow me on YouTube at Nicole Brajer. Check out Real TV Films. It's my red carpet coverage. And we're excited to see you guys next week. Hopefully we've got a full panel. Hashtag ABTV Mob Wives. And catch us next week on AfterBuzz TV. Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later, bitches.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.